Today's guest built one of the biggest podcasts in finance and business, growing from early YouTube finance videos to a channel that brought in over 1 million subscribers and more than 1 billion total views.
It was a passive income video, and it got like 100,000 views in the first 2 days. And I remember making one day $180, which is the highest day I've ever had by far on YouTube. And I was like, oh wow, this could actually be something.
In this episode, we break down the blueprint for creating viral podcasts.
Think about it from a viewer perspective. If you're a person just casually scrolling YouTube and you see a 3-hour-long video from this guy you've never seen before, am I really gonna sink 3 hours of my time into listening to this guy? No, but the Shorts algorithm will feed these people content.
Today's guest is Stephan and Jack Selby of the Iced Coffee Hour. So what do you think is one of the best investments and what is one of the worst investments that's going on right now?
Best investment I've ever made, like percentage standpoint, was Tesla. That I bought when I bought the car in maybe 2017, was it? I bought the stock, and that was up 2,000% at the peak.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, and I kept buying Tesla stock too. Like before the split, I bought Tesla stock. I just kept buying it, and yeah, that was like percentage return, my best investment. This house was also a great investment because I put like 10% down on it. And it's gone up, I don't know, not 100% in value, but this house has gone up probably about 60 to 70% in value. And considering that I put 10% down, is quite a lot on that down payment. Those have probably been my best investments.
What have been some of the worst investments?
I sold Robinhood stock. That was an awful one. I bought it at, I have an average cost basis on that stock of like 32, and Jack bought it. And then because Jack bought it, it went down, and I think I sold it like, I sold that for a loss of more than 50%.
I heard you're the bad luck to stocks.
To see where it is now, Robinhood's trading at $110 a share.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah. I think I had like 500 or 600 shares of Robinhood, and I got margin called because I bought it. I had the idea. I had the vision. It was just the wrong timing. That's the problem. It was the timing. And then the same thing goes for Palantir. I had like 1,000 shares of Palantir and long-term call options. So I would have been a few $100,000. And then I think I was forced to sell Palantir at like $10 a share. And then Robinhood was about the same, $11 a share.
So what's been your best investment?
Dogecoin.
Dogecoin?
Yeah, Dogecoin. I put in $100 and I made about 17,000.
Okay. Well, how long ago was this?
And I bought a Rolex.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. When was this? 2021?
Yep.
2020, 2021.
Whenever Dogecoin hit like 60 something cents, and I was telling him to sell like right before the SNL.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, you just got to sell this thing. Sell it.
Yeah.
And he sold it.
Do you own any Bitcoin?
Just IBIT.
What does that mean?
The ETF.
The ETF. Okay.
The ETF.
I feel bad. In 2020, I bought 3 Bitcoin for like $3,000. And it went to $5,000, and I sold them feeling rich, and now I just feel awful.
It's not a bad investment, though. You know what's funny is everybody that we talk to on the podcast, it seems like their common thread advice is buy more in assets and hold on to the assets. Every single person has a story of, I bought this and I flipped it and I made 30%, but now it's up 30,000%. It's like if you just buy and hold on to things, maybe you're better off, because I feel like every single person has had that story.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
Like a Tesla Roadster, like selling that, and then it.
Maybe you shouldn't sell it then.
I don't know. Right price, it's selling.
No, but I like buying assets and holding on to them too, like the rental property. I mean, you're holding on to yours, right?
I'm trying to sell them. I want.
Oh, really? Are you gonna? But you're not gonna 1031. You're just gonna take.
I might 1031 some and just pay the tax on some others.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, well, that's one thing I like about real estate. If you do buy and hold it, you can 1031 if you sell it, or if you buy and hold it and then you can cash out, refinance it. But you're done with real estate.
Probably. Yeah, there might be a few specific things if they have it like a utility to them. But overall, I just don't like the hassle.
Yeah. Now, you said you have a Ford. What is Ford GT?
Ford GT.
Now, that's one of your investments too. So index fund, and then you also have the Ford GT. You said something about the S&P. Can you remind me of that again?
Yeah, I said for a while it was outperforming the S&P 500, but lately, now that the S&P is back at an all-time high, I'm underperforming. So I would have been better off putting the money in the S&P instead of the car today. But like back in April, the car outperformed the S&P. So it really is like a kind of give and right now the S&P is outperforming though. But for a car, I think it's pretty good to even be like trailing it.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Plus, if you factor in all of the revenue made from the videos on the Ford GT, there's something to be made there.
No, I've barely made anything. I thought they would
Really?
do a few grand. It paid for the registration and some insurance, but that's about it.
The Ford GT videos?
The Ford GT did. Yeah, I made one video about the Ford GT, and I think it did maybe 4,000 total in revenue on that
And
video.
at what point will you end up selling that one?
I don't know if I'd sell that. I mean, if I get a crazy offer today that I can't refuse, I'm going to sell it.
Yeah.
But I could also see that car, like just me holding it for a long time. But listen, for the right price, everything is for sale. I'll sell just about anything at the right price.
Yeah. All right. So I know that you have the Tesla. Which Tesla Roadster is it? Is it one of the first generation?
Yeah, it's a first gen 2010 Tesla Roadster in yellow, which is one of the only. It was the rarest factory color. They made 26 of them, and I believe there are. I could be wrong here. I believe there's under 20 that are still around because a few have been crashed.
Okay.
And so when you count like clean title, yeah.
And I know in Atlanta you mentioned you want to sell it.
Yeah, back then it was so funny. I was like, Bitcoin was not where it is today, and I was like, I'll sell it for one Bitcoin. And now Bitcoin's up 20% since then.
That's crazy. So how much would you sell it for?
I know 100%. If someone offers me 100 grand, I just sell it.
Okay.
If someone offers me 85 to 90, I would strongly consider it. I'd very strongly consider it. If someone offers me under 80, I would just hold on to it. But I'm in it about 140 with repairs and everything.
Oh, wow. How
'Cause
long
I
have you
bought-
had it?
3 years. So I bought it at the peak of the market when Teslas were like the Plaid was selling for 150 grand. Everyone was all pro Tesla. They were getting EV credits. And I saw this as having all the characteristics of being one day a $500,000 car. Like it's very low production. It's a historic vehicle to a certain degree. Like it was
It
the
is.
car that started the electric vehicle craze. It was like the first Tesla ever. And look at what Tesla's become with like self-driving. The Model Y was like the best-selling car in the United States. They're global. There's a Tesla Roadster floating in space. And there are currently under 1,500 like still around on the road. And owners, I know several people that just buy every color of the car. They hoard Tesla Roadsters. They own like 5 or 10 of these things, and they just keep them. And so it's one of these cars where it's like it has every characteristic of being a $500,000 car. And so when I saw this for sale, being the rarest factory color, I thought, man, this is a good deal. And I sold Tesla stock to buy the car. And I thought, well, instead of holding Tesla stock, I'm going to put that stock's value in the car, and then I'm going to see which one does better. And so for a while, the car was doing better because Tesla stock fell from 314 is where I sold it down to like 100 and something. I was like, yes, I made the right choice. And then Tesla stock went back up. So Tesla took a big hit when Elon started getting political. He started as soon as he bought Twitter, people started seeing him as a villain because he bought Twitter, fired people, exposed, the Democrat organization, like all this, and just people were afraid to be driving Tesla or being associated with Tesla, and just the value of Teslas in general fell. He lowered the price of cars from like the Model Plaid used to be 150, now it's 90 something, and the Roadster values fell. And it didn't help that the Roadster value, like when you think of the market, is very small to begin with. The
Yes.
type of person buying a Tesla Roadster is a very specific person. And when you have a whole bunch of Roadsters flooding the market at the same time, it just saturated the market. And so when you have 10 to 15 Roadsters to choose from, which is a lot, when there's 15 Roadsters for sale in the United States at a time, like there's not 15 buyers. And so the values just kept dropping. And so that's where I got stuck, where I see this car that should have been a great investment, and then I see the other opportunity costs of like, I could have put that in Bitcoin. I could have bought S&P 500. I could have bought this. And meanwhile, it's sitting in a car that I've driven 500 miles in 3 years. And so it's like when I'm not using it and I see other places to put the money. That's where I'm at the point now where I'm like, if I sell it, I don't use it enough to justify keeping it.
Makes sense.
But I still think one day it's going to be worth $500,000, and I worry I'm going to look back and be like, I should never have sold that car. Because I truly believe it's going to be $500,000 car one
It's
day.
like buying the first iPhone and just having it in its case in your safe.
Yes.
Is what I think.
But yeah, if I don't sell it, like it's
Not going to
it's
kill you,
fine now.
but if you do, put it somewhere
Yeah,
else.
but like I said, I want to put it in Bitcoin, and that would have been up 20%. And then it's like, all right, then I got my money back.
Yeah. Some other controversial moments you've had with guests, kind of contending. I'm sure it's not like bad, but like where you kind of disagree. Like that was one of them.
Oh, your big one, Jack, asking Dave Ramsey if he can borrow at 0% interest $1 billion.
Yeah,
He
that
said
went
no.
viral over and over and over again. Asking Dave Ramsey if he would borrow $1 billion, 0% interest.
What
He
was
said
his
no.
answer?
No.
Why not?
So he argued that there's still risk involved. Could be, at borrowing that amount of money, because you're probably going to be throwing that in something. You could argue high yield savings account. You could argue all these things. He just says if you borrow money, you're taking on unnecessary risk. And he also got burned extremely badly in the beginning of his career. And I think it also caused like some marital strife, which he's been open about. All of these financial, insecurities early on really, I guess, determined that he's never going to borrow ever again.
You know what? You should have asked him, or ask him again. Would you borrow $1 billion at negative 1% interest rate?
Yeah, I know. I was thinking about that.
Yeah.
Ooh, that'd be.
I was
interesting to know.
actually thinking about asking that.
Now
question.
you get
But if you-
paid for taking
But
the
if you
loan.
borrowed at 0% and just put it in a savings account and just paid it back, he wouldn't even do that.
No.
But also, you got to think about it. I actually understand this perspective. If he's worth $600 million, what is borrowing $1 billion? So you're technically taking on $1 billion of risk, right? At 0%. Like that, making 5%, 4% in a high yield savings account isn't going to dramatically improve his life. It won't change his life actually at all.
Won't push.
But it also opens up this little thing. It plants this little seed that you might not quite have enough, and you might not sleep very well that night.
Imagine putting it in the market, it drops 30%, and now you owe $300 extra million that you don't have.
So I understand the perspective of just not wanting to take on debt. If you have everything in cash, you're making great money. Your lifestyle won't be affected at all, except you just have $1 billion looming over your head.
So he doesn't believe in any good debt. Do you guys believe in good debt?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you get like a 2% mortgage, 30-year fixed. That's great. I'll take that any day.
Yeah, because my grandma, she bought her house with 4 or 5 houses on actually her land. It was 20 acres. 4 or 5 properties were on 4 or 5 houses. And she bought it for $25,000 back like 60 years ago.
Wow.
And I was thinking, man, if she took that $25,000 and put it in a mattress and pulled it out today, it'd be only 25. But the fact that she put it in land, in property, is worth more. So it kind of hedged it. And, inflation was on her side.
It's interesting because like investing is always a balance between emotion and logic, emotion and numbers.
Yes.
And emotion does take control for most people, I would say. And you could just tell this because of credit card debt and how like the average American has how much in credit card debt?
$6,400.
$6,400 in credit card debt.
didn't know
And that is a purely emotional driven fact. It's not a logical fact. If they see the logic, like, okay, well, I probably shouldn't get my nails done because I'm putting it on debt that's super high interest that I can't afford right now, but maybe I can in a couple of months. That's no logic involved, no facts, no numbers involved, pure emotion. But then if you widen the scale out to people that are in a position of being able to afford a home, maybe you're eking a little bit more towards logic, but still there are going to be a lot of people that make emotional decisions with their home that they think they can afford a home. So like, if you say that emotion doesn't exist, which I feel like is what the people like Graham would say in investing, as opposed to like Dave Ramsey, which is like everything is emotional. So you got to take on no debt and you play the numbers game and play it safe. It's kind of like about finding a balance between the two.
I think it's hard to grow without using some kind of debt. You know what I mean?
Not if you increase your income enough.
Yeah,
But I think it's definitely doable.
yeah. But
It's
I
really
don't
just
know,
a rich,
leveraging for
it's really
tax
just for
reasons.
it's
like,
really just for real estate. I mean, if you're not in real estate or have no desire, you don't really need
Well,
the
thing
debt.
like bonus depreciation, like the big beautiful bill
Yeah.
that's right now, you could buy like a car or something, with,
Yeah.
and use financing.
Yeah.
So I was under the impression that, like for example, I was sitting here thinking, okay, so if I have $100,000 and I wanted to buy an Escalade, I could either pay cash for it and not have any payments, or I could take that $100,000 and put it in real estate, as you said, right, and maybe buy something for I don't know $400,000 or $200,000 homes, for example, and take out some debt. the cash flow would be able to pay for the property, hopefully pay for some of the car, and then I can end up having both for free. Technically, they pay off each other.
Or you just don't get the Escalade, and then you
put it in real estate.
put it in real estate. You don't need the Escalade for the write-off. You're still spending money on an Escalade.
Exactly.
So here's a hard take. Kevin O'Leary, I think, said this. You should never make an investment that you can justify because of tax.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
It's used as a tool later on.
Yeah,
I believe
tax should be a bonus, but not the reason.
Exactly,
is what he says.
I saw y'all did a tax video the other day. I got to watch a piece of it. What's that guy's name?
Carlton.
Yeah, Carlton. He's very smart. What was the main takeaways you guys took from that?
Really, just bonus depreciation.
Yeah,
is the big one. Short-term rentals, and then buying an office or something for your business.
Yeah.
Those are really the big ones. People want to save a lot of money. It's those.
It convinced me that I needed to get a short-term rental. That was the final straw that broke the camel's back.
All right, so we've talked about like your best investments and some of your worst. Are there any investments that you're curious about getting into or you've been studying?
So mostly I'm thinking right now, how can I invest to decrease my tax liability? That's the thing. And we were talking to Carlton Dennis, and he was saying investing in like oil and gas and energy, in movie shows. Those sorts of things are really interesting. Movie shows. What? That's what he was calling them, right?
No.
What was he calling them?
Movies.
No, he was saying movie, and then he had a word after that. And I remember it.
Like
movie. I think it's movie shows. I swear, I think it's.
All right, we got a movie guy here. So what is it? Do you know?
Credits.
No.
Yeah, tax credits.
No,
like
no. It was movie shows. I'm pretty sure.
All right.
There's no way.
I'm pretty sure because he kept saying it, and I was like, "Is that like the actual term?"
I know people refer to like if they're working on set, they're like, "Oh, I'm on this show."
Yeah.
Bro, I'll show you with the transcript after the podcast. Graham.
No, but I know what you're saying though.
Movie shows.
The only reason why I agree, the only reason why I said movie show is because that's what I thought he was saying.
Okay.
Anyways, investing in stuff like that. That's what I'm really curious about. I would want to explore those things. How do you get your tax bill to zero?
Me, I do a lot of depreciation, like cost segregation. Once you're a real estate professional, you get a little bit more tax benefits. So what I do is I deduct what really is true. A lot of people do play in the gray area. I don't. I like to show as much income as possible, and then I'll use good debt, in order to wipe out all my taxes. So, like for example, let's just say that you owe $100,000, for example. You could pay no money down and buy a laundromat or the equipment for $400,000 or $500,000 and wipe out the $100,000, and then you can even show more of a loss. And what you don't use this year, you can take over to the next year. So we successfully have done that. So we bought laundromats, car washes, storage units, or like you say, you're doing the short-term, you'll be able to cost segregate some of that and wipe out some of your bases. And right now, since the big, beautiful bill, we get to write off 100% bonus depreciation of that portion. So I like to use depreciation as much as possible instead of deduct. Because if you deduct too much, then when you go to the bank, they're going to show you don't make anything. You're going to lose borrowing power.
So when you buy this laundromat,
Yeah.
and then you deduct and depreciate all of those things, I'm curious, what do you do with the laundromat? Like, do you
Now
make
you
it
cash flow. Yeah, you cash. So what I did is I bought a laundromat for $400,000. Okay, it was a laundromat, car wash, and storage units. I got it at a good deal, seller financing. I bought the equipment. It was about $410,000, but now costs have gone. So it's probably like $480 to do that now. I paid like $410. I was able to take the depreciation on the laundromat, and then I master leased the property to investors and let them run the whole thing, so it's completely passed. Kind of like an absolute triple net, but I master lease. It's very simple. So they do taxes, insurance, repairs, and maintenance, and they pay me $11,500 a month. We pay out $3,700. I got the tax depreciation on it, and I make them hold it for 2-3 years, and then when they cash me out at $1.3 million, I can 1031 at least the real estate portion, and then I've depreciated on all of the equipment.
What are you going to 1031 it into? Because it has to be like a much bigger. Is it a complex?
Yeah,
or?
the real estate part. So the real estate, since it's a light kind, I could pretty much put it into, which it's kind of vague depending on what it is, because they keep it very broad. I can 1031 into apartments. I can 1031 into more storage units, because what I did is I'm renting the commercial to them. So that's kind of how. So I bought it for $400. Like I said, then we bought the equipment. I got to get the tax depreciation. I got on the 400,000 of laundromat equipment. And then when I sell it, I get the 1031, the gain.
So are you figuring out your exact strategy? Okay, I'm going to master leads to these guys is approximately going to be the price before you even enter contract on this. Like, are you strategizing then, or are you getting in a contract and then you're like, okay, how can I maximize my ROI?
Okay, so the way that I actually do real estate, because I don't know if I've ever nerded out with you guys on it. So let's use what's a real example? I bought 10 units. I got it under contract for $1 million with $50,000 down, which is good. Principal only payments, okay, which is cool. But while it's under contract, I found another investors that actually want that type of 10 units, and it was a little further away than what I wanted. So I got it 10 units, like I said, 50 down, finance 950, principal only payments. I then, while it's under contract, find another investor to pay. They paid us 10% down on 1.5 million. So they paid me 150,000. So we made 100 grand after I paid out 50. And then I master leased it to them. Not owner finance, I master leased it to them. So that way I can hold it a year or two. And then when they cash me out, I can 1031 the other, $500,000 gain.
How do you make sure you have a tenant before closing on it?
So what we do is when I'm looking, so let's just say we're here in Vegas, and that's actually what I was wanting to talk to you. I said I wanted to talk to you about something. I want to show you what I do, and I know it'll work here in Vegas. So how it'll work is we're going to put out two things. We're going to source for tenant buyers, and the tenant buyers will be homeowners or business owners that want their own location. Okay, and we're going to source for people who have, number one, money to put down. They have a good monthly cash flow, right? And we know their budget. So we're building a profile on both investors, or owner users, or just homeowners. Then we source properties like residential for the tenant buyers for residential or commercial. We're sourcing at the same time. Over here, I'll build a list and I'll find out people that have 30 grand down, 150 grand down, 10,000 down, 100, whatever. And I'm building a profile. And then as I find properties, and let's just say I find a guy that has 80 grand down, he can do 3,000 a month and he wants a house for, 400,000. And I have that in the back of my mind. If I find a home that I can get for 350 or 300 or 400, I'm going to get it under contract. And even if they say they want money down, I'm going to go to my list. And let's just say that these guys say, hey, look, I'm willing to take 40 grand down. I'll go to this guy that has 80 and I'll say, okay. And I'll show him the home as I have it under contract. He'll give me 80. I'll take 40 out of that 80 and pay the seller and close on that day. I only close once I have the tenant buyer, you see? And then I'll cash flow. So if my payment's $2,500, I'm going to make him pay $3,000. If I paid $400, I'm going to charge him $450 minimum, and then I close. And I'd like to bring that over. I just don't see many people. All the old school investors used to do that. It just died out. And then you hear everyone talk creative financing, but they're doing some stuff that's a little dangerous, in my opinion. They're telling you to borrow money from an uncle and put them in second. I don't do that. I just get it under contract, and if I find a tenant buyer first, then I close. If I don't, then I call the seller and extend it until I can find a tenant buyer, or I cancel. There's no harm, no foul, and I just say, I'm sorry, I feel like I'm letting you down, because my home that y'all visited, we pay literally technically no money down. I paid 4 months up front is what I did, but he was going to sell or finance it to me. I said, no. I changed it to lease with an option because the property tax assessment would have hit and been 90 grand more. So I calculated that in my head. We bought it at 7. It appraised for 12. So now imagine me going to another wealthy guy and say, look, I'm going to sell it to you for 10. You have 2 million of equity. I'm going to make 3 million. I'm paying 20 grand a month, and that includes the taxes and insurance. You pay me 30, and I'll give you a $10,000 a month credit toward the purchase price once you fulfill the option. You see, and I've seen that work so many times. We bought 18 units, 0 money down, 18 units. We got it under contract, 18 units. Our monthly payment was $12,000 a month, principal only payments. Before I closed, I found some young guys. They paid me $360,000 down and pay us 15 grand a month. So I only cash flow less, though, when I do that, because I want the buyer to be able to fulfill what he promises. They're bringing upwards of $24,000 a month on that now. I bought it for $2,300. I sold it them for $2,700. And then every time I make a monthly payment, my principal goes down. When they do it, it's pretty much like interest only because it's a lease option. So the longer they stay in it, the more my principal is on the back end, and then I'm able to do a 1031 once they cash me out. You see, so I like to use that method. I just don't hear anyone doing
on the
that.
lease option, how do you claim ownership rights if you want to depreciate it or write it off?
Oh, you talking about when I buy?
Yeah.
Well, you can't. You can only write off the full monthly payment. But imagine this. So if I do a lease, okay, and I'm paying $20,000 a month, if I pay a lease, I get to write off the full lease if it's business. Now, this is my personal home that we're using for right now. But like if this was for rental, like if I'm going to lease option and then sublease option, then I get to write off the full monthly payment. But what I did is I got them down to let me give me a credit of 10 or 20 grand a month toward the purchase price if I fulfill.
I see.
So now I get the credit on both ends, and I go to the bank. It's going to help me refinance because they're going to see all the credits I've paid that goes toward that purchase price, which helps me with my amount down. So I'm able to come out no money out of pocket. What's a good example? Okay, a good example of a commercial. I bought an old Sears building for $700,000. Instead of seller financing it in the beginning, I had the master lease it to me for a year. And during that the first 6 months, I bought a spring floor for gymnastics. I bought taekwondo stuff, and I bought that all using debt so I could write off. And then as phase 2 happened, they did a seller carryback of 200 grand. I got a loan for 500. Then the bank paid me the day that I bought it 50 grand. You see? So, but I got all the credits of the monthly payments that went toward the purchase. So I didn't have to come out any money down. You see?
Got it.
Yeah. So I like to be very creative, not just creative finance, creative even with traditional, because I have 33 different ways to buy, and I only hear people talk about cash, traditional, and subject to, and all. But really, there's 33 different ways.
You can't 1031 into a lease option deal, though, right?
No, you can't do that.
This is just a new deal starting from scratch.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, but so what I do is if I do buy with a lease option, I fulfill the option, hold it a year, 2 year, and then sell it. But there's some cases where I'll do that. And the only reason I do it, let's just say that you have a commercial building here and you do want to do a 1031. If you sell or finance it to me, it's going to hurt you later because now you can't 1031. So I would say, hey, look, because you are going to 1031, the benefit of lease optioning and giving me these credits is the fact that you're going to be able to count it as a lease. And as interest rates come down, hopefully in a year or two when I cash you out, because that's when I'm going to be able to cash you out, when the interest rates come down. Once I cash you out, though, now you can 1031 and maybe you'll be able to find a deal. It'll give you also a year or two to find a property instead of be stuck to 45 days. Yeah. So like I did one with one boy. We helped him get 6 units. It was $990,000. And he got it for $40,000 down. And he's cash flowing $2,500 a month.
I would 100% do that. 100%.
Yeah. One other question I did have is I know, you didn't come from California though?
I did.
Oh, you did? Mm-hmm. Do y'all see yourself ever going back to California or to any other place, or is this your forever?
I don't. I want to be done with California.
What made you leave in the first place?
Gosh, I think when I started paying an absurd amount in tax and then looking at what you receive in return and just the quality of life just kept deteriorating and getting worse and worse and worse. And it was like traffic, crime, high taxes, high prices, high sales taxes. It's just everything about it started getting to a point where I'm like, why am I here? Came to Vegas, loved it. It's just such a 180. It's like everything is half the cost. You get like twice the food, twice the experience, twice the like everything is half the cost, twice as good.
Yeah. And how about you?
I moved here just because I was all in. Like I told Graham, it was probably August. That's when I dropped out of college, and Graham and I made our agreement to go all in for 1 year. And then I think like a month later, Graham was like, oh yeah, we might be moving to Vegas. And I was like, well, I'm all in. So, may as well just go to Vegas. And also it was nice, obviously, for the tax savings. So I was totally fine with it. I didn't really have anything going on in my life outside of the podcast and the work that I was doing with Graham. So it was fine.
Do y'all see this as your forever place, or is there another place in like 5 years? Like you say, you might make it to Florida or something. Or
yeah, Florida would be cool. I like it here enough because it's such a central part of the U.S. that a lot of people eventually just fly into Vegas at some point. So it's easy for us to get guests. I do like Florida a lot. I don't know how that would change though, because here is great. Florida's nice too. It's nice to be on the beach.
Further away, yeah.
It is. It's like you're on that side. It's maybe, but I like it here.
So what kind of? I know you do some real estate, right?
Not really anymore. It's
Do you
really
still
just
have
index.
some,
I
though?
do.
Okay.
I
More
do.
index funds?
Yeah, more index funds at this point. The real estate's just a pain in the ass. I just don't want to deal with it anymore. I'll be honest with you.
That's a lot
I'm
of
kind of
work.
over it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And how about you?
Yeah, mostly index funds for me. I
Okay.
would say probably got about 80% in that. And then I have a house here in Vegas with some equity built up. I got a 2.874%
Oh, shoot.
rate on that place. So
Yeah.
I'm super stoked on that. And can I say this? Last night I opened contract on a short-term rental
Really?
here in Vegas. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I like it a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I've been telling Jack a long time, like, dude, just don't buy. The prices are so high. But this place came up, and I love it.
Yeah.
So next time I
Love
come,
it.
I'll stay there, man.
It's yeah.
Be your
yeah.
first customer.
By all
Yeah.
means, it's a short-term rental here.
Actually, yeah, that would be perfect. You come stay at Jack's place.
You
for
could give me
a
an
few
honest
days.
review. You know, what do you think? Do I need
Yeah.
to tweak some of the amenities? You know, what do you like? What do you not like? And tell me about the decor. I struggle with decor a little bit, but I've so far I've started working with this guy who's going to help me. He does a lot of short-term rentals. He's going to help me kind of deck it out for maximum short-term ROI.
Oh no! There's this girl named Linda Kim that just started working with us, like kind of helping us because I don't do anything short term, and I always did long term, you know. But I was talking to her and I said, "Wow, I mean, it's kind of a really good thing." So what she does Airbnb arbitrage usually, and what they don't realize is that when they lease, you know, arbitrage is they rent it from someone else. I said, "Why don't you rent it and get an option, or try and sell or finance it?" All right, so that's a good mix that I can help in her community. But what she does is that's what she specializes is the staging part of it and how to do it on a budget. So
See, that's the part that I would probably need the most assistance for because I don't know. Do you spend a lot more money to get just like a little bit more luxury things, or do you go like base mode,
Base
Walmart
mode,
sort of thing?
Base mode. You can't even tell the luxury stuff.
yeah, what I've heard is they'll buy stuff off Facebook Marketplace. You can buy pretty, except for towels, mattresses, things like that. You want to probably buy brand new, you know. But yeah, I'd love to see it, man.
Yeah,
Is it
I'll
near
show
the
you.
strip too?
No, it's close enough to the.
Oh, that's
to the strip.
perfect.
Yeah, yeah.
You don't want to be next to the strip. Like the
No.
closer you get to the strip, the less
party.
desirable the real estate gets.
So, but how many rental properties do you? Because I'm a real estate guy. I know you're over real estate, but like, how many rental properties do you still have?
I think 5.
And they're all in California.
Yeah, those are in California. Those have all been bought between 2011 and 2020 with
Okay,
like
that's
low
pretty
interest
good.
rates, all refinanced, low tax basis. And so like me selling them is a pain, and also almost all of them are rent control. And
Oh,
so
shoot. Yeah,
me
okay.
selling a property in Los Angeles with rent controlled tenants in them is tough. So you have to sell it vacant. And in hindsight, it's interesting because I thought I was being smart by buying duplexes because I'm like, oh, the cash flow is going to be higher than a single family home, and I could live in one side and rent out the other and get my cost down to 0. That's a good choice. But now, no one wants multifamily, even duplexes anymore in Los Angeles because of tenant protections.
Yeah. tenant laws
And
are
so
awful.
single family homes are now selling way more. The spread, like it used to be about on par. Like you buy a single family home for the same as a duplex, but the duplex makes more money. And so between the two, I thought, well, I may as well pick the duplex. But now that the trade-off between the two, like single families are selling up here and duplexes have gone down. So had I just gotten single family homes, in hindsight, would have been way better. Like no one wants multifamily anymore. So,
And I've heard evictions are really tough in California because like in Georgia we can get people in like 2 weeks, sometimes 3 weeks. How is it in California?
awful. What tenants could do is they could basically say whatever they want, hire a free a tenant lawyer service, $0 out of pocket for them, and their entire goal is just to delay the eviction process as much as possible to try to get a settlement. That's all it is. And so from a landlord's perspective, you have to pay $300 to $500 an hour. The tenant pays 0.
That's crazy.
And when a tenant's attorney is basically delaying motions, and then they know how to play the game, a tenant would be able to get anywhere from 3 to 12 months of free rent. And so a landlord sees this and says, well, if I'm not getting 6 months of rent, $3,000 a month, that's $18,000. Or I just give the tenant $6,000 to
get 'em
voluntarily move out. What are you going to do? Even if you're in the right, you have to just balance the cost.
Yeah, you have to pay for keys.
Right. And then it's also the cost per hour of fighting it. So there's a balance. If you have the funds, I just, out of principle, I'm like, if you are in the right, I think just kind of fight the thing. But you have to look at the cost on that. But it's pretty bad. Like they're even trying to do an eviction moratorium, like an eviction freeze right now because of ICE raids in Los Angeles. That's affecting renters. And I don't know how on earth they did this too with the fires. And they said if you are in the county of Los Angeles and you have seen a 10% drop in income, you don't have to pay your rent.
That's
I'm like,
crazy.
what? Because hypothetically, you could be making $1 million a year. And, now you're making $900,000 a year. I guess you don't have to pay your rent anymore. They come up with any reason to basically like hurt landlords.
Do you think that'll ever turn in the future? It's kind of tough.
I would like to. It's getting to the point where no one is buying any rent controlled properties in LA, and they're basically going unfixed. Like the landlords are just doing the landlords have to do the bare minimum because they're just losing money. I even heard a story recently, and this one is crazy, that there's a tenant who was bragging about paying $600 a month for a rent controlled place in Venice Beach, and they just use it as storage because they just don't want to give it up. So for them, it's cheaper than a storage unit.
Yeah.
And the landlord is the one eating the cost of that, but the tenant has the rights to it because it's rent controlled. And so rent control really only helps the tenants who got in really early. It doesn't help anybody now.
Later on.
Yeah. And so what happens is that tenants like that take up these units, and then the cost for every other market value unit goes up. Or you have landlords, and I know many of them, that just say, I'm not going to rent it out at all because my building is more valuable vacant than it is with tenants in it. And so it's cheaper for me to have my value go up more and more and more. Like my duplex, I would make more money just keeping it empty. Believe it or not. Like in hindsight. At the time, I'm thinking, I'm making the good choice, rent it out. Keeping it empty would have made me more money. Just because it gives you optionality. And you could sell it to a developer. You could sell it to another investor who could rent it out at their market rates. You could sell it to someone who wants to renovate it and rent it out even more. But the way it's situated right now, I basically just got to wait for them to move out.
That's crazy.
It's nuts.
Yeah, that's a lot of. But you've had some pretty good tenants, I assume.
I have had great tenants. I've been fortunate to have really, really, really good tenants. But from a value perspective, the building is more valuable vacant.
Yeah.
So it's like, what could you do? But I've had great tenants.
Yeah.
So like, I'm really fortunate.
All right. So going back to podcasts, okay, because I'm going to start leaning in on the podcast a little bit more, okay? Yeah. What are some tips that you would say, hey, Shane, when you leave today, these are the 3 to 5 actionable steps that you need to do to have a successful podcast and get good guests and kind of grow in your view count?
What do you say, Jack?
I would say growing view count would be like clipping and top of funnel things. So for example, you can plant seeds anywhere on the internet. For example, you could be on Snapchat, you could be on Facebook, you could be on Twitter, you could be on TikTok, all of these things, and post little snippets of your show that hopefully funnel some new viewers to the podcast. Now, the podcast itself needs to be really high quality cover to cover. Like every minute, there needs to be a certain threshold of either entertainment or educational value that is met. And so the viewer is stimulated throughout the podcast because you want them to think, oh, this Shane guy, he's pretty good at podcasting. I like the thing he's got going on. I'm going to subscribe and I'm going to tune in next week when he posts again. And so it's all about like finding those people that would be interested in your content, somehow directing them to your show, because it's very hard to grow. Think about it from a viewer perspective. If you're a person just casually scrolling YouTube and you see a 3-hour long video from this guy you've never seen before, and it's like, oh, how, I did this in real estate. You're like, I don't know if I trust this guy. I don't know if I believe this guy. And am I really going to sink 3 hours of my time into listening to this guy? No. But the shorts algorithm will feed these people content. They don't have to click on those videos. It will feed them something. And maybe that snippet is just so fascinating that it then redirects them towards a long form video. And then, like I said, cover to cover, those long form videos have to be really good. So the main thing is, for long form success, you need to have a great title and thumbnail. And you need to make sure you're hitting that threshold of like educational and entertainment value every minute of the podcast, so people enjoy it. They like you, they like what you have going on, they trust you, and they're willing to watch again.
Okay, so good, snippets that funnels them in, then education and entertainment. And then of course on the long form, like you guys do, you think if it's 3 hours, I need to snip it down to about an hour and a half, maybe.
Yeah,
hour,
maybe
just to-
2.
It really
give or take.
depends
Yeah.
on the content itself. Like if there are certain parts of the video, they're like, wow, this guy's really droning. Let's cut the entire thing. And also if there's a certain conversation that happens later in the video that it makes more contextual sense to grab that entire conversation and slice it and put it earlier on in the video, you could totally do that too. It's basically like creating your own piece of art cover to cover that makes sense. It tells a story. It's funny. It's educational. And you just try to maximize that value.
What was the first time? Did y'all always snip them from the first time y'all did podcasts, or did y'all just place the whole thing out there?
I think it's just evolved over time. Like go back and watch our first few podcasts. It was so bad. You'll be able to see it's like there were weird pauses in there, bad clips. Sometimes you'd make a mistake, and it's just bad.
It's definitely a learning process. I will say that we were still somewhat doing that as opposed to a lot of other podcasts that I would listen, because I was a huge podcast consumer. And so I had a very strong opinion on what I liked and what I didn't like. So I wasn't quite at the point where you'd grab conversation and move it in the podcast. That didn't happen until maybe a year or so later. But I was definitely at the point where I could tell mostly when something was like egregiously bad or if it was decent content. It just like my threshold went up over time. And so in the beginning, like I would leave stuff in that was maybe 6 out of 10 on that threshold. And then now it's got to be like an 8 out of 10 to be left in the podcast.
That's pretty interesting. Yeah, and one thing that you guys said earlier that was interesting is that you want to make the content based on the consumer. Me, when I was sitting down, I was like, man, I want to get some free mentorship here. But really and truly, I got to think of the audience. Not that I'm not thinking of you guys, but like, because I think they want to know these questions too. For example, like sponsors. How do you know if it's a real sponsor when they email? How do they contact you?
I mean, you could tell from the email itself usually, but most of the time it's not the brands reaching out to you directly. You usually work with a few different agencies that filter through those emails. They can reach out. So you basically have an agency representing you. They either can reach out to these brands if you tell them, hey, I want to work with this company, and they probably have a contact or they know someone that knows someone. They can reach out that way, outbound, or they have inbound where they have these brands that they work with, maybe like 50 to 100 brands that they work with all of the time. And then these brands are like, hey, we're cutting off the budget for this quarter, or they're like, hey, we're opening up the budget. This is what we're looking for. And the agency has many clients as well, and they just kind of determine who seems like the best fit. And as long as you have multiple agencies like that representing you, you're going to fill up your inventory.
Do they usually give you a pretty decent price, or is that always something you always have to negotiate? Do they like kind of bid low most of the time?
We
or?
negotiate everything, right? Like because they're always going to come out the gate like low. And we're a rather like rich podcast to invest in. Like we're pretty aggressive
good,
with our because we're able to fill it at more aggressive or competitive rates. But yeah, it's always usually a bit of a negotiating process.
And then how do you choose which brands that you can say, hey, I like this and I'm going to actually use this as a sponsor this, or these? No, I don't believe in that product. I'm not going to do that.
I mean, if it's something like a clothing brand, for example, we just got Cozy Earth.
Oh, that was so good.
Yeah. So like they reached out to us like, hey, we make bamboo sheets and we make like these really nice, pajama sort of clothing. We make pants, we make shirts. We're like, okay, cool. Send us some. And then they sent us a ton. They were super generous with the amount of stuff they sent us. I felt it and I was like, holy cow. These pants
are really good.
Are so nice. And then I felt the sheets and I felt the bamboo in the sheets and I couldn't believe what I was feeling. It felt like silk. And I loved it. Yeah. So we were like, okay, cool. Yeah. Everything checks out. Yeah.
So you get a bunch of free stuff sometimes?
We end up getting a ton of free stuff. Like Magic Minds has been another one. They just sent us a whole bunch of Magic Mind.
Oh.
A little like performance shot.
I've never tried that.
They have like different types with like no caffeine, a little caffeine. It's good for like a mental clarity, like a little performance shot, like a little energy health shot almost. And they send us a whole bunch of them and we take them everywhere with us.
Magic Minds.
Yeah, even to your event, we had Magic Minds before.
Try it.
It's really good. I'll give you some.
Yeah, I'll try it.
Another one, oddly enough, is BetterHelp. They get a lot of scrutiny, BetterHelp. It's basically like an online therapy thing.
Oh, I've heard of
We
that.
don't work with them right now, but we did in the past. And in the past, I was like, okay, like I know that these guys have been under fire like a decent amount. There were all these videos from these YouTubers trying to cancel BetterHelp. And then I was like, let me see for myself. And I signed up, paid out of my own pocket. So they didn't like, so it wasn't like they referred me to the best therapist or whatever. And I took like 4 whole therapy sessions and I was like, this is actually quite good. I don't know what people are complaining about. It it was really convenient too. I would say that was like the main benefit is like you could choose a therapist, you could swap therapists like this if you just don't like it. So you have a massive supply of therapists that you can work with, and you could select any time that works for you. So I was like, okay, this is it's more so on the individual. Like if the individual is going to be a go-getter, like and confident in what they want and what they don't want, then it could be a wild success for them. But yeah, that was like something that I felt like you need to try it out, see if you like it. And it's kind of up to us. Like we just use our own judgment to see if it's okay, is this like a service or a product that's worth it, or is it not?
Yeah. How do y'all deal with haters? Like I'm new to this, but I've had a few people say, "Oh, Shane's this, Shane's." I'm like, they don't even know who I am. Like, how do y'all deal with
It comes
that?
with the territory. You just got to deal with it.
Because they don't know
there's
what
always
they're
gonna
talking
be,
about, right? I'm like, golly.
It depends. If it used to bother me a lot, and it's bothered me less as time has gone on. But it depends. Are they providing a comment that's like a constructive piece of criticism where you can tell they understand the context of the situation, they got an accurate read on everything, and they were criticizing you for something you said or claimed to have done, and it makes sense? Then it's okay. Like you should take that. That's an opportunity for you to grow. But most of the time, it's just an unsubstantiated claim. Like people were recently claiming that my dad co-founded, or
PayPal
Elon Musk
or
was like my
something.
uncle or something, and my dad, because there's another guy named Jack Selby who was a
one
part
of
of the
the-
PayPal mafia. So
Oh,
he like
wow.
founded PayPal, and you can, if you look up Jack Selby, he ranks like higher than me, and so like, and then I rank just
Same
underneath
name,
it.
man.
That's
Same
hilarious.
exact name, and people were even like DMing me saying, like, you kind of look like him too. But yeah, this guy's worth like hundreds of millions of dollars or something, and so people think I'm like a trust fund baby, and I'm just like, there's no evidence. Find me one picture online of me next to this guy.
I got a funny one I got to show you. And this is a hilarious comment I got. I screenshot it. Oh yeah, here's a comment. Hey Graham, when will you admit that you didn't earn anything and were given your entire career? You never worked for those multi-million-dollar real estate deals at 18. Your daddy and mommy gave you everything, and yet you lie about it. You actively destroy the working class by purchasing ungodly amounts of single-family homes and renting them out for 8,000% of their mortgage payments. You don't engage in the economy and continue to extract and hoard. When is it acceptable for people to hold you accountable?
What the heck?
Isn't
And
that
where'd
weird?
they get that?
It's weird. But I'm
Every
just saying, it's like
single thing
yeah.
they claim there is completely inaccurate.
But people will post things in the comments that are like so untrue, but they say them as fact. And they'll say like, Graham, why are you not telling them blah, 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 blah. There was one where I talked about, I think it was about like a company or something. And they said like, Graham, why are you not disclosing that this company paid you to say it? I was like, they didn't. But like they say it as a fact. And then if that isn't corrected, then people are like, oh, wow, I had no idea that Graham was actually paid.
Oh, they
by-"
actually start trickling down.
Yeah,
and
because they get all the likes. Because what these comments will often do, that
They
type
bait
of
'em.
person goes in, writes a comment like that. Graham, why aren't you disclosing that they paid you to say this? And then they'll like that comment 5 times with different accounts really quick. That's enough to boost it to the top of the page.
Yeah.
And then because that comment gets a few likes, people are like, oh wow,
must be true.
it's got to be true. Because why would this have 20 likes? So it has to be true. And then people are like, oh wow, yeah, Graham's a piece of shit. I didn't know that. Why isn't he disclosing that? It's like none of it's true.
Yeah.
And so it's just, you got to deal with it. It's just, it's always going to happen.
At
There's no way
what
around it.
point do you ever instigate some of the haters to get more engagement, or is that just
Sometimes they'll play along with it. Usually it's best to ignore. But if they say something that's blatantly untrue, usually I'll just go and be like, I don't know. This is hilarious. Like none of this is true.
yeah?
But sometimes they'll play along with it. But
Yeah.
but the problem is online you can't detect sarcasm.
That's-
So when you
yeah,
play
that's true.
along with something like that, then it's like, oh yes,
He's
exactly.
defending himself. Yeah. or
Yeah,
something.
it's just it's bad all the way around. Usually you just ignore it.
Oh my gosh. Well, has there ever been? What is one video that really changed your life? Was it like? Is it like? Because I know you started before the iced coffee hour, right? Right.
Yeah.
And is there one video that you said, "Hey, I'm going to continue doing this. This blew up. It went well, and I'm going to lean into this."
Yeah, for me it was a video I made, passive income, how I earn $4,700 I don't know, something like that. It was a passive income video, and it got like 100,000 views in the first like 2 days. And I remember making one day $180, which is the highest day I've ever had by far on YouTube. And I was like, oh wow, this could actually be something. And I just continued. That was really like a turning point for me. Was that video?
And what was one of the first videos that you because I know you said you emailed him trying to get in touch with him. What was the 1 or 2 videos that just stood out to you that made you say, I'm going to reach out to this guy?
I remember there was a video that you put out. I don't know when I watched it, like how I became a real estate millionaire at 26. That was like one of Graham's, like, I feel like first kind of somewhat viral videos. That was good. I watched a lot of his credit card videos. There was this one video of you like flamethrowering a credit card. I like that.
What?
Yeah.
Like unboxing the JP Morgan Reserve card. Lots of like how to build credit. It was like the old classic Graham videos where he was like doing his first ever explanations on like how to be financially literate.
Yeah, back then on YouTube that didn't exist though. That was the thing. It's like there were very few people on YouTube making that sort of like financial independence content. It was beat the bush, minority mindset to a certain degree. That was really it. There might be a few others that I'm just forgetting, but like there's nothing. So when you explain explaining the concept of compound interest on YouTube in 2017 was unheard of.
That's true.
That just didn't exist. And so when I made like here's what compound interest is, it's just people are like, holy shit, this is like, even though now you do the same video and people are like, Graham, what are you doing? You got to stop. Like this is so common sense. Like we got to not do this anymore.
So do you still do a lot of credit hacking or credit cards?
I stopped doing those videos. I used to do every year like my top 5 favorite credit cards for beginners. And I stopped doing them like 2 years ago because they just progressively did worse and worse and worse. And part of the reason is that there's so much competition. Like someone would spend a month on one like credit card for beginner video and make it like amazing.
There are credit card channels now.
Yeah.
You know, and so Graham is competing with these guys that is all the
they
content
focus
that
on.
they make.
Like
You know?
it used to be the big topic for everybody was the stock market for beginners 2017, stock market for beginners 2018. And you would only be competing with like a few people. And to rank number 1 on stock market for beginners, you'll get 1 million views. And so it used to be like I knew people who like the whole December they'd be spending making their stock market for beginners video posted on January 1st and make hundreds of thousands of dollars from that one video. And it's now to a point where you can't do that. There's so many stock market for beginner videos that always pop up at the same time. It's like saturated. So you have to think, what's the new thing?
Yeah.
So it's very competitive now in a way that like early days it was not.
When it comes to personal branding, do you feel like it's opened doors and opportunities other than just meeting people and collaborating and kind of learning? Does it open doors for more business, like business opportunities? Do you guys get pitched like, hey, do you want to do this business with us? Or, hey, we got that.
All the time. All the time.
Yeah. Has any of those ever come to like a real good fruition that he's like, hey, man, we're going to do this?
Not really.
No, honestly, most of the opportunity is through like meeting people. The emails are, you know, occasionally enticing. The DMs are occasionally enticing, but most of the time it's just like, I mean, for example, your group, the Index, like that's been
did
big.
well.
Yeah, because you get surrounded by people that are doing awesome things. Like the best part about leveraging, aside from like, you know, direct like AdSense revenue and sponsorships that you can gain from having a successful YouTube channel, would be leveraging the access that you have.
Oh, the ads. Okay.
Yeah, access to really high talented people, to smart people, stuff like that. Like
Do you guys ever kind of like pinch yourself, man, I'm over here hanging out like Dave Ramsey, like he'd be cool to meet. I've never met him. Like, do you ever say, man, I'm over here talking and hanging out with Dave Ramsey, Kevin O'Leary or something?
All the time.
And what is like one, like, tell me like a few gems that you just heard them say one thing, that, man, that take that and it changed my life just from that one episode or behind the camera, just from meeting them.
I don't think there's anything anyone's ever said where I feel like that has changed my life. It's just being around them, just hanging around the people is the biggest difference for me.
And seeing their drive, I guess.
Seeing what they're like. It's inspiring.
I like Hormozy would say that you can be an impatient person, but if you like notice yourself waiting in a line and you're getting angry, but you practice patience, in that moment, you're patient. Like you have become a patient person despite what you're coded as. You're coded as an impatient person. Wow. So like you can do anything despite how you feel about that thing. You could feel lazy, but then go and make your bed, clean up your room a little bit, and then all of a sudden you're not lazy. Like you could feel a certain way and create a dissonance between that and your actual actions. Which I thought that was really interesting. I mean, I reference a lot of stuff in the podcast. Honestly, I'm dissimilar to Graham in that way. Like every podcast, I'm trying to take away like some tidbits, and I practice that stuff quite often. But yeah,
man, And how is Alex Hormozy? He seems brilliant. Honestly, just the way he verbalizes and articulates very
He's
well.
a great
Yeah,
marketer.
he is.
Phenomenal marketer. Like
He's here in
he has
Vegas.
found, he has found how he wants to present himself, and that's how he is also the honest truth. But like he has found this thing, and he leans into it, and it's great.
Yeah, he's great with branding too because he's very recognizable. And like Alex Romo, you could envision him with like the nose thing on and like
Yeah.
the beard and the muscles and the hair. It's like he's very memorable.
Yeah. He's really blown up in the last couple of years. So someone starting with 0 followers, don't know no one knows who they are, no personal brand. How do you recommend them get guests? Because I know right now you guys have built up a brand, personal
So
brand.
the easiest way to get guests is start with people that would agree to come on your podcast, and you could just do a really good job with them. Like there are a lot of people who have 0 name, but they're accomplished and they just have never done a podcast before, but they have a cool story, or maybe they're just like a charismatic person. Have them on because no one is going to them saying like, hey, come on the podcast. It could be, real estate investors. It could be someone who owns like a garbage company and they make like $100,000 a month. It doesn't matter.
Wow.
Have someone cool come on who's not getting pitched. And when you start doing a really good job at doing those, people could see that I want to go on that too. They just see the quality. Like Ennis is actually a good example. Like he was doing these home tours and going in open houses filming. And then he started doing private tours, but his private tours, like he would just call agents and say, hey, you have a unique house, can I just go and film it? But he would do such an incredible job filming the house that people would see that and say, wow, I want him to film mine. So when you do such a good job at your podcast, like such a good job, just higher quality people will want to come on because they see it.
Listen, you say you guys personally listen to your podcast as soon as it's done, right? Or when it's edited, you listen to the whole thing.
Like I reviewed Sunday's podcast late last night.
Wow.
And I just 2x speed it, watch the whole thing through, and anytime I get bored or I find my mind wandering, I just put a note for our editor Mikey and I say, hey,
Take that out.
Yeah, this is a little boring here. Can we condense it? But yeah, I try to watch all the way through, and there are parts where I'm like, hey, this should be earlier. Jack asked this question. I don't like it. I don't like this answer. Remove that. This part is boring. Take this out. Cut my question. Like, it doesn't matter. Just as long as it makes it a better episode.
Okay, and then how do you recommend people find a really, really good editor for any type for your head video, or do you do those yourself?
I do
right?
this myself, and then
And
I
then
have someone
I'd say
do like little bits after. Yeah.
I would say recommendations. You just gotta
Recommendations.
find people that are in the industry, ask them who they recommend, and then just like start talking to people. It's like finding a good agent, or a good contractor. It's
a good
like you gotta
point.
start with ideally people that you know and you can trust, and then see who they recommend. Aside from that, honestly, the untapped method be go on Reels and then find really well edited Instagram Reels. And a lot of the times there are these pages called like, let's just say, Motivation Success Beast. And that's the name of the Instagram account. And you click on it and you know for a fact this is ran by some random guy in Pakistan probably, or in India or something, like way over there. And you're like, okay, they edit really well. They're trying to grow this Instagram account. There are so many of them. You just DM them, hey, how much to edit a long form video? Usually they do shorts, but if they know how to edit a short, they probably know how to edit a long form video. The only thing is there's going to be a bit of a language barrier, so they may not understand like the full context of everything, but you could still get decent quality like edits, mainly for short form, but at least like point you in the right direction for more cheap kind of and effective editing.
That's a great idea. I'm going to do that today.
So
That's a pretty good idea, actually. So I know you guys are very frugal. Can you ever justify not flying Southwest and like getting a jet or something?
No. Getting a jet. That's like
But
like
getting
Getting
bonus
a
depreciation.
jet?
yeah.
to fly to-
It's like so you guys are really generous, right?
Yeah.
Could you ever justify instead of maybe tipping 30%, tipping 9,000%? Like those are two completely different. Southwest and a private jet are not
Yeah.
the same.
Yeah, I thought you were about to say like first class.
Yeah,
and even
yeah.
then we'd be like, well,
Or
probably
even
not.
JetBlue,
Oh, yeah,
like,
can you justify
JetBlue.
first class? Then,
Could we
like,
fly
going
Delta? Yeah, maybe Delta
maybe.
every now and then. Yeah.
No, we would never do a jet. I mean, that is completely out of.
We
our
would
budget.
have
if
to
we
be
weren't gonna
making,
make
like,
money on
yeah.
a podcast, already, then we are like out probably 3 or 4 podcasts if we have to book. A
Yeah.
So
private
you
jet.
are very deliberate on your expenses from, hey, when I travel, I know I'm going to make such and such from this podcast, from that video specifically. So I'm going to make sure I stay underneath
We
that
don't
amount.
quite think that. It's just we don't need crazy nice flights. Like every now and then, if there's like an overnight, like a red eye or like a really long flight, and the upgrade to get like a slightly bigger seat is like $100, like we'll do that. But we don't need. Like
The thing is, we don't relax on the flights anyways. Like Graham and I are incredibly tense on these flights. We white knuckle the whole thing because we're just petrified of any sort of turbulence that can hit.
Oh, you are nervous. Huh?
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
because you see all these like crashes recently.
Yeah.
And it's just I don't want to be on one.
So it's not going to be comfortable regardless for us.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
on top of that, like we're researching, reading, upon our guests and stuff like that. So we're not like lounging. It's always just like, shoulders up
So you
tight.
aren't
and you're at
taking
the
a
keyboard.
nap and got the little.
No.
No,
we're working.
Have you ever flown to Europe or anything?
Yeah.
And how was that flight? For you?
Those
Did
are
y'all do?
better.
Did y'all do economy there too?
I did
y'all do first?
premium economy.
Okay.
Which is like first class domestic.
Yeah.
So for me, that was totally fine.
But you didn't do Delta or what is it, Delta One, where it like
No,
lounges
no,
down
no,
and stuff. Okay.
When did you start flying first class?
I started flying first class maybe 5 years ago.
And how did you justify it?
I said, I'm getting older. I'm making a little bit of money, and I want to at least be able to enjoy some of my grandfather died with a lot of money in his bank account, and he never used it. And then my other family kind of squandered the money. I was like, man, he didn't even enjoy it. So I always take a little portion and say, this is just like burn money to
Is that
do my
portion
thing.
is that portion part of like how much money you make, or is it a fixed amount every month?
I would say no, it's not a fixed amount. So it's like per year. So I say, you know what? I'm okay with spending $300,000-400,000 on just lifestyle at this point. Later on, though, when I was first beginning, I was like, okay, I'm gonna burn $100,000. I'm single. I was living in a paid-off home, so I'm gonna portion that out so I can actually enjoy my life.
So what are some of the things that you spent that money on? Did you have to go through a period where you had to learn how to spend money to enjoy it in an effective way?
Yeah, because I grew up saving heavily. My brother would. Anytime, because we're Korean, okay? So every time a Korean would come to us, they'd always give us $100. My brother would blow it, and I'd save it. This is weird.
Wait,
And then,
what do you mean?
like Koreans, whenever they come to your house, like the older gentlemen, they'd come in, they'd give all the kids $100 bill.
Really?
I love that. That's a great
It
culture.
sounds like Koreans hate money. Because
No.
you go to a restaurant, you gotta pay. You show up at your friend's house, you gotta give them money. It's
And
just
then you got to
always-
save it too.
Yeah,
But then you also
that's why
have to give it
You
away.
gotta marry a Korean. That's what you gotta do.
There you go. My wife got that, right? So just for her. But cool. So what is the future of Iced Coffee Hour then? Like, do you want to expand in any different directions, or is it just you want a bigger studio?
I would say the future of the Iced Coffee Hour is getting on better guests. That's it, period. We got to have the best possible guests with the best possible conversations. And so that kind of demands a lot of flexibility in our schedules. We have to be able to fly out at a moment's notice to North Carolina because we want to film something with MrBeast. Or we have to be able to fly out last minute to Nashville because we want to film something with Dave Ramsey. It's really difficult to to be dating, to be, doing big money moves like Graham is, trying to sell his Tesla Roadster when you got to be able to drop everything and then travel somewhere because that's the only window of time that someone's available.
How was it spending time with MrBeast and seeing his operation? Did y'all get to see?
Insane. It was like one of the most surreal things I've ever seen, if I'm being honest, because you walk in, this warehouse is massive.
Oh, there's multiple of them too.
There's multiple of them. It's
gosh.
like gigantic. You walk in, there's people doing God knows what. You walk and there's people doing this. They were doing like COVID testing because they had a shoot at the time. They were doing this testing over here. They had a set over here. It looks like Charlie Chocolate's factory or whatever it is. It looked exactly like that. And just to know that was done from a YouTuber was the crazy part. YouTube.
Yeah.
That's how much do you think he spent on that entire compound?
Many millions.
I feel like he changed that entire town.
Yeah.
100%.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He probably employs half the town.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just there were probably hundreds of people there.
Do y'all
when
stay
they're
in
there.
touch, you and him?
Yeah. I mean, he's busy doing his thing. So
Oh,
I'm
I
not
bet.
going to bother him, but anything he needs, I'm there, which is not much, but I'll just comment on his Instagram stories every now and then. He gets back, which is cool.
Oh yeah, he's very strategic, man. Like he's a machine. What takeaways did you get from him seeing his operation that you brought into?
He
what y'all
outsources
did?
everything he doesn't want to do, but he's also very hands-on everything. Like he makes sure he's overseeing a lot, but he also outsources. And his team is he just hires the best of the best of the best, which is what I really respect. And there's something I was listening to a podcast who said that like if you hire like a B player or a C player, they drive down productivity. I forget what the percentage was, but it was such a noticeable decrease when you hire someone who's just kind of lazy.
Yes.
Because they decrease the motivation, and everyone kind of falls down to that level of the lowest
makes
player.
sense.
But when you're surrounded by like A players, like everyone is like going above and beyond, the whole team rises to that. I forget exactly what it was, but it was a study where they sat students next to like the C players, and their performance declines substantially versus if they're within the vicinity of like an A player.
That makes sense. It'd be kind of like 10 people kind of walking from here to California for something. Like, and maybe they have 5 days to do it. But if you have one person that walks slow, they all have to walk at that speed to get there, right?
It's like the analogy: the sled moves at the pace of the slowest husky. You know.
Yeah.
That's it.
So yeah, find this study because they went over it in a podcast, and I was like, oh wow, that's like the amount of harm that you do to a business of hiring someone who's not like the best of the best, it ruins it. So I could tell Jimmy really just hires the best of the best of the best, and if it becomes clear pretty soon that they're not, I don't think he has problem cutting them. Like when it comes to what he wants to do, he just wants the best. And when we were speaking with the people there, they were just as into it as he was, which is something that got me excited. Like they knew just as much about retention as Jimmy did.
That's
And
incredible.
they're just as into it. They're just as into thumbnail design. They're just as into ideation. They're just as much into like making everything is perfect.
I wonder how he was able to channel everyone to make sure they understood the vision, not just like front show, but also back office. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I have no idea. Yeah, we didn't meet anyone from the back office, but we met a lot of people that were like involved in editing, storytelling, thumbnails, things like this. But yeah, back office accounting, I could only imagine like what that's looking like,
Oh man, that's crazy.
or how many people you have to like hire to build sets, because he's building multiple sets at the same time and filming multiple videos at the same time. Like he'll have someone in a circle, and then he'll also have someone losing weight, and then I'll also have someone like in a house, and all 3 videos are filming concurrently because they could take like a year to finish filming. So he has like many of these.
Man, I wonder what kind of organizational structures he has. He is definitely an amazing leader, and as a YouTuber, that's what's crazy.
Yeah.
Man,
I have no idea, but it's intimidating to me when I see this. I'm like, I don't know. How
was
he
it
does
wild to see it like a
I
machine?
don't know how he does it. Like there's so many moving parts, and the responsibility seems to fall on him.
Wow.
Like it's just because he's the face of that channel. So like everything has to do, like if he stops, like I don't know what everyone else would be doing. It's like on him.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys, I just want to say thank you guys for having me again here in the studio. I learned a lot and I love nerding out with you guys, and I look forward to working with you guys again.
Thank you. Really
Yeah.
appreciate it. Thanks for coming to Vegas.
Yeah, thank you
Enjoyed
guys.
this.
Thanks for having us on the show. Maybe there will be some updates, you guys.
Let's see.
Maybe there will be.
That'd be cool.
Till
All right.
next time.
Till next time.
See you guys.
Cool.